You could have the best video in the entire world, but if your thumbnail sucks, no one is clicking. And I used to agonize over making thumbnails that I thought looked okay, but they would get no clicks whatsoever. But then I hired a content manager who actually has some graphic design skills, and now my thumbnails are looking amazing. So I wanted to bring on my content manager and my thumbnail designer and my video editor. This is Katie, and she's going to help us perfect some thumbnails because we don't just want them to look pretty. We want them to actually get the click. So welcome, Katie. Excited to have you on the channel. You guys may remember Katie. Katie was an agent on the Georgia Coast Homes team many years ago. And now she works for me in my coaching business. Once I found out that she had some skills she was hiding from me besides just selling real estate.
Yes, besides making dry county videos, yes.
One of the funniest videos on our channel. That video is one of our very popular videos and brought in a ton of phone calls and leads for us. So, all right, let's talk about the thing with thumbnails. And I'm going to show you. This is one of the very first thumbnails that I ever made. Is this beautiful or what? Let's talk about all of the things that are wrong with it. Why is my headshot on there? My face takes up the entire screen, but then I also put my headshot on there. I have the brokerage logo, which was totally unnecessary because in Georgia, you only have to have your brokerage information on it if you are promoting a specific house that's for sale, and it was not. And then why did I put the text right across the middle of my face? I don't know. So I think we can all agree that this is a really terrible looking thumbnail, but here's the part that's really bad. Look at that click-through rate. It was less than 1%. So if you have a terrible looking thumbnail, no one's going to click on your video. And I truly believe most agents do not spend enough time working on their thumbnail. I used to do it as a total afterthought. I would make my video, and as I was uploading it to YouTube, be like, oh yeah, I got to make a thumbnail. What should it be? I don't know. Let's just go make it. And then that was the result. So what we thought we would do today is go into Canva and then actually remake this thumbnail so that we can make something that looks much better. So should I just create a brand new page and we'll start from scratch? Okay.
Yes, let's do that.
I mean,
let's go ahead and do that.
you don't want to use any of the existing.
No. No.
All right. Where should I start?
So let's start with the background. I think it is always important, especially for someone who does not enjoy thumbnails, to decide on a background. Having a consistent background is going to make you stand out to your viewers. So and it makes it really easy for you as well as the content creator. Once you knock out having a consistent background, all you have to do is put it on every single thumbnail. So I would say go ahead and decide. You can use your brand colors, or you can use colors that you enjoy and you are going to use over and over. So I would say either do a solid or a gradient. I prefer gradient because it makes it look a lot prettier. So I would say let's decide on some colors.
All right, let's go find the brand color palette for the brokerage. So these are the colors that I'm working with. I have navy blue, I have a brighter blue, I have gold. What would you suggest?
So I would suggest first for the background that you want to probably use your gold and maybe a splash of the navy or the darker, but you don't want to use the navy as your background because you're going to want to use darker colors for your text as the background in your text. So if you're using that dark background, it's going to be harder to always have it stand out. So if you're going to use a solid color, I would probably say gold. If you're going to use a gradient, then I would say start with that gradient base being gold.
Okay. What would the gradient, like if I wanted to make it part gold, what would the other part be?
I would start with going with a white or a gray.
Oh, like that?
Right. And then bring it down just a little bit. And then you want to add a different color to it. So at the top, you see where the color wheel with the gradient right there? Yes. So then you can add a white or a little bit lighter on the gray. Perfect. And then you're going to take that color and you're going to put it in between the gray and the gold.
How do
So
I
you
do
just
that? Do I
you
just
click
drag
on
and
it.
drop?
Correct.
Okay. Maybe I need to get out of here first. Oh, I didn't even know you could do that. Okay.
Yeah. So then you just play. I like to play around with it. And if I don't like how that looks, I'll typically add another gold so that the gray isn't so harsh. And I'll add it either next to the white or next to the gray so that it blends nicely, ending in the gray, ending in the gold, and starting in the gold as well.
Okay, I don't know what I just did. I think I changed the original gold color
That's
by
okay. I
accident.
think the hex is I think it's like DDB or F8.
You have good memory. Okay.
I
So I
type
was
it a lot.
okay. So let's see. DDBF8. Okay, so not exactly the same. Do you think
Correct.
lighter, darker?
Yes. I just like to slide it and play to see how it goes. So, uh if I like the lighter so that it kind of just goes from a darker with a little bit of darker in between and lighter, it really is up to you, whatever you like, since it's your thumbnail. What do
So
you
now
think?
we've got 4 colors. So we got gold, white, gray, and then the lighter gold. Should I keep all 4 or should I get rid of one?
So what we're going to do is play with it first. Once you set it, once you set the color, we're going to play with it and see how, because it'll mesh. Once you get it set, it'll mesh really well. So do you like those colors? Not together, just
I
individual.
I don't think it pops enough to show up in the YouTube feed. I don't think it has enough oomph.
Right. Okay. So, well, remember, this is the background, and the background is not the main objective. It's going to be something that brings life to your picture, into the elements of the picture. So, we don't want the background to be so vibrant that it distracts from your picture and the text on the thumbnail. So that's why, if you don't like thumbnails and it's not your strong suit, I always try to go with a more subtle background so that we can let your photo and the elements that you put on it stand out. And then you can just take those colors and slide them easily, like you're doing right now. And you could move the gray. If the gray is too dark, you can take it down. You can make it another gold versus it being a gray, and just
Do you
play
like
with it.
this?
Yeah,
Because I
I think
like
that's
this
really
better.
pretty.
I
And you
like
can
this better.
always play with the gradient style. If you like having it, yep, I think that one is very popular. And the good thing about doing a gradient is that you don't have to have it the same gradient style every thumbnail. You
Right.
can always change it. So for this thumbnail, I would say doing it like that. The option number 3 is probably, or option number 2 is going to be a good option.
Okay, I like that. I think that looks nice.
Okay. So now
All
that
right.
we have the background set, what we need to work on is going to be your picture.
Okay. So anybody who has a paid Canva plan, you've got all of these folders, and it really, really helps to have a folder with all of your thumbnail photos that you've taken. So the way that Katie has me do it is every couple of months, I will record a video. Let me come back to full screen. I record a video against a blank wall or a green screen, and I'll make faces like,
Yes.
and I just hold the pose for a couple of seconds. I send her the video and then she just takes a screenshot. You can do photos. And if you use your phone, you can set like the 3-second timer. But Katie has said sometimes the best ones I get are like you were going like this and then you were changing to something else. And she gets a better, like where you don't have that pasted on smile because you've been smiling for 10 minutes straight. It's like you relaxed your face and then she grabs
Yeah.
it and thinks it's a better still. So that might be a good way to take thumbnail photos. And then we just save them all in these folders in Canva. So if I can go, I know I have one called, should I use the pink jacket against this color or the white shirt?
Well, let's test it. Let's see which one looks better.
There we go. White button down. We're very creative with our titles here. So
I know.
what
I
if
try
it
to make it
was,
easy.
like, what is that facial expression? It kind of depends. All right. So what was the title of this video? That's the other problem. The title of the video is Selling Your Home, How to Choose the Best Offer. I think that's exactly what it was, right? What was it called? Sellers, How to Choose the Best Offer. So I'm basically repeating exactly what the title is on the thumbnail. So I want a facial expression that's not, hi, this is my headshot with my giant cheesy smile, because that doesn't really go with what we're talking about. It should be something like, how do you choose the best offer? So you look a little bit puzzled. You look, I don't know, confused.
Right.
You want to have a facial expression that matches your topic versus something like this, where it's just a big old smile that doesn't really match anything. So I'm just going to say, well, let's see. Is there a better one? No, that's a smile. Yeah, let's just do this one. That looks good enough. And you'll also notice the bottom of my body is cropped off. That's okay because I can always put it like this. But don't take your picture where your arm is missing. I
Please.
look at a lot of thumbnails every day and I'm always like, why is the whole left side of your body gone? So let's not do that. Let's not chop off your arms, please. Try to get your whole body in the frame.
Yes. And then with resizing it, it's always important to, if you notice in Canva, it has, it has the circles and then it has the little lines on the sides of the photo. I prefer to start with resizing always with the circles, because when you try to resize it this way, you end up, like Karin is doing right now, cutting off the head and cutting off the arms. And so you're not actually resizing the entire photo like you do with the circles. So I would say go ahead and resize with the circles. And I would rather cut off the bottom half of her body than cut off her head. You want to make that thumbnail photo of yourself as large as you can. And it's, it doesn't matter that it's huge. You don't want to be so small, like this size, nobody can see you. If you're going to put yourself on the thumbnail, let's make it huge. We don't want to be small and have text huge or overlapping where it doesn't make sense. Everything's got to mesh together. So,
and we see this a lot when we are in our coaching community and we're reviewing people's thumbnails. They put their photo on, but it's almost like they're afraid to make themselves too big.
yes.
And they want to have all of this text and all of this stuff in the background. But then you remember, what if somebody's watching on their phone? How big is your face when this pops up on their phone? I always recommend, I want your face to be like roughly 1/3 of the design. So make yourself gigantic. And yeah, it's probably going to make you a little uncomfortable. Like, holy cow, that's a giant face. But that's what looks really good. If you go to your YouTube homepage and just look at all the thumbnails that appear, nobody has an itty bitty tiny face. Their face is giant. So I usually like mid chest to the top of your head and not much smaller than that.
Right. And as far as, I would rather have a photo of Karin in 2 words versus a small photo of Karin in, a for sale sign, a stop sign, 5 text, because then people are confused. They're trying to look at everything that it's on the thumbnail, and then they just get so overwhelmed they end up scrolling past it. And it could be a fantastic video, but it will never get watched if the thumbnail is not as equally fantastic. So I would rather have 2 things on the thumbnail versus 20 things on the thumbnail.
Agreed. And I decided to move it to the other side only because if I'm this way and the text is over here, I feel like I'm kind of looking in the wrong direction. But if I
Correct.
move my face over here and we put the text here, that makes more sense to me.
It does. You always want to look at the position when you're moving your body. And this is why I like to do videos for thumbnails as well, because she can reposition herself and it allows me to have the correct position. Whereas if you take a still, that's it. But
Right.
if you're moving in a video, it makes more sense to be able to grab stills from your editing software. And so in this example is perfect. her body is positioned to go on the opposite side, and then the text fits perfectly, it meshes well and it flows well. So readers pay attention to that, and viewers pay attention to that. You want it to flow properly, because if it doesn't, it's just another reason for them to continue to scroll. So these things matter.
They do. Back in the day when I was an opera singer, for those of you that don't know, like I went to school because I wanted to be an opera singer. And then they were like, you're 6 feet tall. You're a foot taller than most of the men on stage. That's not going to work so well for you. So I had to give up my aspirations of being a professional singer. But one of the things was when something important was happening on stage, they would have all of the other characters look at them. Because if you're sitting in the audience and everybody on stage is looking at the person in the middle, that's where your eye is going to go too. So I do this a lot with my thumbnails, because if I want you to look at something important on the thumbnail, that's where I will look when I'm taking the photo, so that when you look at me and I'm looking here, your eye is going to go here. It's just something to think about when you're laying out, because I could have put this on the other side and it doesn't look bad, but I think it makes more sense to have it on this side. All right. So what do we do next? We move on to text.
Yes. Next is text.
Okay. So for all of you who don't know, my favorite thing in the world is just hit the letter T on your keyboard and it puts a big block of text. What do we think about that font, Miss Katie?
Oh my gosh, please don't ever, 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 ever use it. Ever. Just
and you know what? That reminds me of something. I made a little cheat sheet for you. I'll put the link down below. It is like 9 things when you're making your YouTube thumbnail to do and not do so that it looks really good, because you don't want to come back to this video every single time you make a thumbnail and watch the entire thing. You certainly can, and do it right along with Katie the next time you're making a thumbnail. But then you'll also have this little cheat sheet to make it faster for you in the future. So one of the things I talk about in that guide is font choice.
Yes, please don't. I mean, I love cursive fonts, but please, just not, they're not for thumbnails. You want to use a font that is bold. And again, use Karen's rule. If you stand all the way back here and you cannot see that font or read what it says, don't use it. I prefer Anton or Impact. Those are very bold. And I prefer to choose 3 to 5 words. That's all you need. And you want to make sure that you are not repeating the title. Please, 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 please do not repeat the title in your thumbnail text. So the title is Sellers, How to Choose the Best Offer. What are some things that we could do? We can always go to our handy friend, ChatGPT, as Karen and I call it, judge. Because I like for it to judge me.
We put in what we've made and it's like, man, that sucked. We're like, wow, are you a little judgmental or what? But you can say, this is the title of my video. What are some words to put on the thumbnail that goes along with the title but doesn't repeat it? So maybe like, how do you choose? How do you pick? What makes it best? Where you're kind of asking the question, sellers, how to pick the best offer. You're like, am I looking for price? Am I looking for terms? How would I know? Or don't make the wrong choice, something like that. So
yeah, I would say don't make the wrong choice.
So if I just keep going like this, then we end up like this. So do you think we should, what if we cut that out and then we just duplicated this and put wrong choice down here?
Yes.
That way we can do something like that and move it around. Okay. Do you think that, okay, I'm going to move myself out of the way just so I don't keep grabbing it by mistake. Do you think that that is large enough or more like this size?
Will you put it there? Will you move your picture back in the frame now?
Sure. And my picture is behind the words, which I like. I don't have any problem with the text kind of going over the edge of my arm or my hair. Like, don't have it go across your face like that. But overlapping just a tiny bit is fine.
I feel like it's too long.
I do too. I feel like it's too much as well. How to choose the best offer. What about
how to pick. You said something earlier. What was it?
What about something like big mistakes?
Yes. Big mistake, huge mistake, wrong choice.
About
Yes.
like,
Don't regret. Because I think that's something that sellers are always afraid of is regret. Yeah, I think
what if it was like, don't regret your choice?
yes. Okay.
Okay, I
Well,
like that. I think that goes along with how to choose the best offer, and then we're saying don't regret the choice that you make, which puts a little bit of that fear in there, and we know that the negative consequences get a lot of clicks. So, I mean, we could obviously work on the title or the words for much longer, but for the sake of
yes.
moving along,
Time.
let's just
Let's
move
move
along.
it. Okay, so now what I like to do is obviously what we can play with placement later, but what I like to do is fix the size and then work on placement, and then we'll go on to the duplicating part that I see you
Okay.
trying to get to. It's your
Yeah,
favorite
I was
part.
trying to like, okay, so
Okay,
how is that for the size?
I think that that will work for now. Yeah.
Okay.
I also so one of my things is that I don't like to have I like to make the text large because I'm finding that having blank space a big huge chunk of blank space also doesn't work. So sometimes I will move the text down because it's better. You want to have space for the timestamp, which is going, can you put your cursor? There we go. Yep. That's where the timestamp is going to be. So we never want to cover that up because then you can't read it. So having the text kind of in between is always a great option. And so I like to have it not totally stacked, but just right, kind of how Karin has it right now. And then what I like to do is go ahead and duplicate the text layers, and then if you'll move that top layer out of the way, we're going to work on the bottom layer first.
Okay.
And so once I duplicate those, I start playing around with the bottom layer. And on the bottom layer, what we're going to do is we're going to go into effects and we're going to give it a shadow. So it's the second one. And the reason I do this is because it's basically giving it almost like a 3D dimensional kind of look, and it lifts the text off the page. So it's going to cause the viewer to look at Karin. This is who the content creator is. What is she saying? Read the text, and then it's going to direct their eyes to the title. It's creating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's meshing it together. Everybody loves when I say that. It's literally 1, 2, 3. We have 7 seconds max. It's typically 3 to grab the viewer who is scrolling. We have to grab them with the thumbnail and then the title, and then have them watch the first 7 seconds of the video. So all of this has to be very attractive. So what we're going to do is use a black. Did
A
you click
black
get
shadow?
black?
Okay.
Okay. And then we're going to take the transparency all the way up.
Okay.
Okay. And then we're going to take the blur to about 60. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is take that top layer that we created and we're going to change it to white.
Oh, okay. And then just move it right on top like that?
Correct. And then we're going to go to effects.
Okay.
And we're going to go to lift. It's the third option.
Okay.
And we're going to take the intensity all the way up to 100.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Now, what this does is it allows the white to stand out against the cream, gold, and gradient background. And so we can use that. We could always change the color to be a gold. We could change the color to be any other color that we want it to be to stand out. We could use, correct, yeah, we could use the blue. And then we could go into the bottom layer if we wanted to, and make that background white if we wanted to use the blue as text color versus it being a black background. And so this is how I play with the text to see what layers I want to make it stand out and pop. So, and again, you can use any design platform that you like. I don't typically do most of my work in Canva. I do a lot of it in Photoshop. And they have different mechanisms for you as well. But in Canva, if you're a beginner, this is a great tool to be able to make multiple layers of text and have it stand out and make it flow really quickly. So
I kind of like the blue instead of the white. I just feel like it shows up better against the background color.
right. And yeah, and you can do it that way, or you could make the blue the background.
Yeah.
And or you could make the white background and have the background layer be white, and then have the top layer be the blue as well. You can play with it however you like. But I just think this is an easy way to make your thumbnails stand out and have them pop against something without feeling stressed and feel like you're competing against someone like Mr. Beast to have these magnificent, huge, like overflowing thumbnails. So
Okay, so would we do the same thing for the bottom, or would
yeah.
you do a different color?
It depends. If you can do a different color, we could test the white theory on the bottom if you want to test that and
Okay.
see if you like which one you like best. So on that, on the one you were just on,
So
let's
that's
change that to a white.
I'm sorry. What did I just do there? That was not what I meant to do.
So we're going to
Change
change
the
the color of
text
the
color?
text.
Okay.
But you want to, yeah,
Okay.
the white. And then we're going to go to effects. And we're going to go to shadows. And we're going to change the shadow color to white. Okay. And then we're going to go to the transparency and bring that all the way up. And then the blur to about 60.
Okay.
Okay. And then we're going to take the top layer of the text. And we're going to go to the effects part on that one and take the lift and change the intensity to 100. And then we'll change the color on that one. You could do the navy or the teal.
Let's see. And that one's not grabbing me. Let's try the blue and see. See, I think the black, I think the top one stands out so much better than with the white.
Yeah.
So I think the easiest way to do this would be to just duplicate and then change your choice and duplicate that and say your choice. And then go like that and grab both of those. And then we can grab everything all together. Whoops, I'm going to move my face because I got that in there by accident, but that's all right. Okay. See, I think that really stands out. And if I were to back all the way up, I can still read it and I don't have my glasses on. It's a nice, big, large, easy to read font. Don't get cutesy with the script. Don't make like big font and then a real tiny font underneath. I saw one last week that it looked like a business card. It looked very professional, but I was like, I have no idea what any of that text says because it is this big. It was so hard to read. Okay, what we do next?
Next, we can adjust your colors, but I really don't think so because I already edited all this. So I think those are ready to go. We could, if you want a shadow behind yourself, we can do that as well. Typically, I do the same thing that I do with text. I will, just to make it simple, I duplicate the layer of you.
Okay.
And then I go on the back layer. And we're going to go to edit and where it says adjust
Okay.
at the top. Okay, so what I like to do on these layers, it depends on the background. Since we have a light background for you with the gold, we're gonna make a darker shadow versus a whiter shadow.
Okay.
So I like to take the brightness down so that we can create a darker shadow view. Yep, that's good. And the contrast as well. And this, again, is just creating what looks like a dark shadow of Karin. So, and then you can take the shadows down as well.
Okay.
And then you'll scroll down. And where it says, is that, I can never
Vignette.
say that. Yes. I always want to say vinegar.
Ah, that's funny.
Okay. So,
Which
yep, there we
direction am
go.
I going?
Can you go back the other direction? Let me see.
Yes.
Okay, no, go the opposite way for me.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so now we're going to go out of adjust
Okay.
and we're going to go to the blur. So go back into edit and blur, and you want to click whole image, and then we're going to just take it up gradually. There we go.
Okay. Is that enough?
Let's do just right there.
Okay.
Okay, and now take your top layer.
Oops. Wrong one. Do I need to make it smaller so that the background shows more? Like, do I have to go like this?
I don't typically like to do that because it makes it harsh. I like for it just to pop just a little bit, because when
Okay.
you have the harsh lines, it looks like it looks like Ella, my daughter, took a crayon and drew around you, and we don't that's no longer in. I know that some
The
people
big
still do
white
that.
crayon line that we did
Yes,
7
and
years
I
ago.
really I know that people would debate me on this all day long, but I don't think that that's in. So I think just having a nice little soft outline is all that is necessary. So there's that. And I think with how we have it now, we could go into your top layer, maybe brighten up your brightness just a little bit. Yep. So into adjust just a little bit. Yep.
Like that? Okay.
Yeah.
What
And if
if we
you want
wanted
to
to put a photo in the background?
yeah,
Like
and we could do
a
that
house
as
for
well.
sale. So, what I typically do is I just go back over to, photos, and I would look for, like, house for sale, and you can go into filters and say, "Only show me the ones that are horizontal so that they will fit." If you only have the free plan, you can click free, but I don't, I have the pro plan, and so now it's gonna show me oh, it didn't show me house for sale. So what if I want like, I'm trying to find one that has something down here like that, right? Because that way
Mhm.
it will fill that open space that we were talking about. I could move my text up a little bit higher. So then how do I make that? Would I put it behind the gradient that we made?
Yes. So you're gonna right click on it, or
Right.
you can do that as well.
Okay. And just say send it back,
Yes. Or you could do make background.
make background.
Yes.
Uh,
Replace
replace
background.
background? Okay.
Mhm. And then you're going to, if you want it to still have the gradient, you would have to add a square, that goes over.
Okay, I gotcha. So we make a rectangle that covers the whole thing, and then we change
Mhm.
the color. Did I save that gradient? I did not. So let's so we had gray, uh,
Gray, white, and gold. I kind of like that. Hmm.
like that?
Mhm. You'll
Okay.
see what it does.
Okay. And then this, let's see, I'm gonna go to the layers, show the layers. So we want this to go like
right there.
that. Okay, but it's
Yes, and
we got to make it transparent.
correct.
All right, so we go here because we want to see the house for sale, but we
Right.
don't want to be like see
So
the entire photo, right?
go down to about 50.
50. Okay.
Okay, so now what we're gonna do is work on the house for sale sign because we don't want that to be so prominent.
Okay.
So click on, you see where you have, yep, there you go, position. So now we're gonna go to edit and we're gonna click blur.
Oh, we are. Okay. Whole
And since we
image.
already, yeah, whole image. Okay, now let's check how that looks.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I
And
like
now
that.
we can move the text up just a little bit so it's not just kind of sitting.
I'm just going to lock these elements so that every time I try to grab my text, it's not, oh, I didn't lock the shadow. Oh, well, that's fine.
Now it looks like a
Okay.
Peter Pan shadow.
Yeah, that's not really what I meant to have. Let's go this guy back here. All right.
There we go.
So I like it because it has depth. Like you said, it looks a little more 3D. We have the photo of the house in the background with a for sale sign, which is a visual, like I like to call out the ideal viewer for this video. So we're calling out home sellers just because it has a for sale sign in the front yard. We don't have to say anything about sellers on the thumbnail because we can see that the house is for sale just by the photo that we used. But it's not like we see the for sale sign, but your eye doesn't, you're not like looking at the picture in the background, trying to look at all of the different elements. It's just there as part of the background. I think, okay, so before and after, I think we would all agree that this is a million times better.
Yes, 100%. And again, I mean, the best part about YouTube is that there's A/B testing. So you can make this because you're putting it up there. You're putting a thumbnail up. And then as you gradually get better and you create a consistent background, go change that sucker. Make an A/B test. See which one performs better. You know, you're not stuck with this. But the best thing too is, don't let thumbnails get in the way of not putting out your videos, not creating content, not getting leads. I mean, I was unpacking today, Karen, and I found my sign that you gave me that says Rookie of the Year. What does that say? For closing over $1 million in my first year, and they were all YouTube deals. Okay. I literally, that's insane. Okay. Like Rookie of the Year 2021. And all I did was sit in front of the camera. I found a wall just like this one, and I made YouTube videos and I made funny faces for thumbnails, and I figured it out. So if you just suck it up, go into Canva in free, or if you're like me and you're just loving Photoshop, go in there and just figure it out. There's, a ton of videos on our channel and other channels that learn and teach things like this. That's how we did it. So I would say it's so much fun. Not everybody agrees, but I think
It is so much fun. And when we first start and we don't know what we're doing, it's not so much fun. But then you watch tutorials like this and you get a little bit of some, confidence making these. And then when you start getting like a 5, 6, 7, 8% click-through rate, you realize how important the thumbnail was. And taking a little bit of time to make this and make it look good will change everything about how many views you get on your videos.
Yes, absolutely.
Now that your thumbnails are getting clicks, let's talk about why most agents fail on YouTube. It's because you're missing the crucial strategy that brings you actual paying clients. So watch this video next, and I'm going to show you exactly how we do that.